Hello, and happy Saturday to you. Welcome to Book Chat. I am your host, author Vivian Moore. I hope that everyone is having a nice Saturday, a nice weekend. It's sort of cloudy and snowy and sleety and rainy here. We're getting a mixture of everything. But I guess that is to be expected because, after all, it is wintertime, and so it's what we need, to really believe that we are experiencing winter weather. Because last weekend, of course, was Christmas weekend, and I don't know about where you are, but here in the city in the South, we had temperatures that were in the low to mid 70s. And I know I sound like a weather forecaster, but it's the truth. We were. The kids were able to go outside and ride on some of the things that they got for Christmas. And, if you just wanted to sit outside and congregate with your family, spend time with your family, fellowship with your family, last Christmas, which was on Sunday, was the perfect. It was the perfect day to do that. And of course, today is New Year's Eve, and I know that a lot of people will be out going to parties and things of that nature, celebrating the incoming year 2017. Can you believe it? We're already moving on toward 2020. Wow! When I see that on paper, it doesn't register in my mind that it is so close, but it really is. But anyway, I just, for those celebrators and party goers, I just hope that you will be safe. Please don't drink and drive. If you're going to a party, make sure you take someone with you who will not be drinking, who can get you back home safely. If not, take a taxi or plan to spend the night somewhere. I think people who are having parties at hotels and things of that nature, that is a good idea because all you have to do is walk to your room, lay down, and sleep it off, whatever amount of whatever it is that you will be participating in while you're celebrating tonight. I just want you to be safe because I do want to see you in 2017, which is in a few hours. All right, so before we begin with today's show, I just wanted to give out right quick some URLs. The first one, of course, is for my Spreaker account, and that URL is https://www.spreaker.com/user/author Vivian Moore. Of course, I'm all over social media, and my Facebook account is https://www.facebook.com/Vivian Moore. My Twitter handle is God's Property 46. My Instagram, which is https://Instagram.com/God's Property 51. And of course, if you want to check out my my Facebook, I'm sorry, not my Facebook, but my web account. It is http://vivianemore.wix.com/author Vivian Moore. That is my my webpage that you can check out all the things that are related to me being an author and writing. And I haven't updated it lately, but I will go out and add some more things that I've been doing. And also, I want to invite you to go out to my blog on Blogger. I'll give you that address. I didn't write it down because I hadn't really intended to do that. But if you will, you can just look me up on Google. You can Google me, Vivian E. Moore on Blogger, and it should bring up all of my blogs. And what I've been doing is, I write a script for my weekly show. And so I've been sharing these blogs, these written scripts on my blog page. So if you want to go out and read what I broadcast every Saturday at 6 p.m. on Book Chat with Author Vivian E. Moore, I invite you to please do that. And as well, if you will, leave comments to let me know that you did go out and read them. I'll be adding to them every week. Every time I do a show, I will be uploading those the written text to my blog account. And so I would appreciate if you would go out there and read those and just tell me what you think about the blogs, because like I said, it's the written script of the show that I do every week, and so now you can read it. If you don't want to listen to it, you can go out and read it. Okay, well, since we got all of that out of the way, let's move on to today's show. The title is Write the Book, Be the Book. And the topic is, you are what you write. How many of you are familiar with the phrase, you are what you eat? Well, writers essentially are held to the same principle. Not to say that if you write about vampires, that there is some dark brooding force inside of you. No, not at all. It simply means you prefer to write about fantasy or sci-fi, which is perfectly normal. Writers tend to write about what drives them, things that hold a particular interest for them. My weapon of choice, of course, is romance. Not because my imagination won't allow me to write about anything else, simply it's my preference. However, romance is where my passion leads me. Much like sports writers, they write about sports. It's where their strength lies, and mine, because we write about what we know. Something else I discovered throughout my writing career is that you cannot be afraid to be honest with who you are as a writer. If you do, then you are shortchanging yourself. What I mean by this is sometimes we're afraid to let go and tell the story, to allow the characters to have full reign. Yes, we are the puppeteers working the strings. Still, it's the characters who drive the story. This was a huge issue for me because I didn't want people thinking that I was some sort of sex addict if I included these scenes in the story. What it came down to was my religious hang-ups. And, let's just be honest, because that's what they were. I'm a Christian and so believed, as many others, that sex was something you didn't write about or discuss. It's a secular conversation. What's done in the privacy of one's bedroom and behind closed doors is their own business. Christians, and I quote, unquote, just don't do things like that. So, not true. Otherwise, this world wouldn't be overpopulated by followers and non-followers of Christ. I focused on this particular topic because most individuals believe all romance involves some type of sexual activity, which is absolutely incorrect. We're human. Copulation is part of our makeup, as well stamped all over our DNA. If there was something wrong with it, God would have never given us The okay as well placed this desire inside of us. There is nothing evil or immoral about it unless it has been distorted or becomes depraved. In no way does this diminish who I am as a person or my beliefs. I simply write the truth and humanize my characters by doing so. Let me share this experience with you. When I wrote If Tomorrow Comes, which, by the way, is available at all online bookstores and coming to a brick and mortar store near you soon. But who I am as a Christian is throughout this book. Not by my design, but because Christ is so deeply anchored inside me. I consciously as well unconsciously included things about the characters, their lives, even their names and beliefs. No, I'm not a Christian writer, but my stories are filled with spirituality because I am too. Again, I am what I write, but only in the sense of the genre I choose to write about, not as an individual. Therefore, I relaxed, relate, and released all of my inhibitions when it came to the subject of sex. Now, I am not a fan of erotica, nor do I read it or want my style of writing associated with this form of explicit sex. This went beyond what I wanted to project in my stories. What I discovered is romance does not have to be tainted by someone else's lack of imagination or overactive one in this case. Understand, I am not bashing anyone's style of writing. To each his own is what I always say. If it works for you, then by all means do it. But at the same time, I learned that writing sex scenes or any other scene is a lot like show and tell. When writing, you should do more showing than telling. I chose a more poetic form of this, firstly because I love poetry. And secondly, it allowed me to be freer in my descriptions. Excuse me. Most readers are affected by beautiful words, more so than lusty ones. Expression is an individual thing. We can either use it to do good or evil. It is also a form of art. We see it in paintings by some of the greatest artists who have ever been immortalized by what they painted on canvas and graced the earth with beautiful images at the same time. Many of the artists during the 16th century, for example, Leonardo da Vinci, he painted nude characters, not because of depravity, but he saw the human body as something beautiful. You know, we will always have these images he painted of the Last Supper. His depiction of what was described to us from the Bible, the Mona Lisa, and many more. And let's not forget Michelangelo, who also painted nude characters such as King David and the creation of Adam. Let's not forget the ceiling of the Sistine Chapel in Rome either. That's one of his, I think it is one of his premier famous portraits. And, you know, it's not on canvas. It is actually painted on the ceiling of the Sistine Chapel in Rome. And it's magnificent. If you've ever seen pictures of it, it's beautiful that he used that ceiling as his canvas. It's just wonderful. But, you know, you have to admit that Leonardo and Michelangelo, they were trendsetters for the time and also daring. Yet their art was not labeled as being obscene or sinful. They simply used the talent God gave them to create masterful works of art. Imagine if they resisted the urge to paint these priceless paintings. We wouldn't have witnessed what has been around for centuries and hopefully centuries more. Anything can be suppressed, whether it's a talent for painting, writing, or whatever the case may be. We will lose it if we fail to put forth an effort to raise our voices or pens and keyboards as it relates to writing. Sometimes we fail as writers because we second guess ourselves. We second guess our abilities, and because we don't want to be signified by what we write. However, if we accept who we are as a writer and take ownership of what we produce, then we have nothing to be ashamed of, only proud. We are artists. We paint magnificent images, not on canvas, but through words. We are what we write, whether we are hopeless romantics, sci-fi or fantasy, history or even eroticism. Moreover, we write because of the inner desire and passion that fuel our creative spirits. Essentially, we are what we write because we can do no less than this. Have you ever read a book by an author that always wrote in a specific genre, try to write outside of their element? I have, and believe me, you could tell that this was not their niche. Imagine if Stephen King, if you will, wrote romance, when we know that he is one of the best sci-fi authors ever. Personally, I can't see him doing that. Not to say he couldn't, but it just wouldn't be as compelling if he used this style of writing. But this is not what we would expect from him anyway, and would probably not fall in the bestseller category either, as his other books have done. Or let's use Dr. Seuss as another example, channeling his inner diva to write chick lit. Nah, I couldn't see him doing that either. You know, who they are as writers, it worked for them the same way it does for us. I know I've said that we must think and write outside of the box, but only if we are not trying to force a square peg into a circle. Again, we are what we write. I can't say this enough. As writers, the stories that we create are unlimited. But you'll probably never read a book by me about vampires. Just telling you that straight off the bat. You know, I keep referencing this because I just read a series of books by Erica Stevens. And if you don't know who she is, you really should get acquainted with her because I love the books that I read. And the first one, that is the first one that it hooked me because she is a dynamic writer and you should really check her out. I really recommend her. You can go out there on Amazon because that's where I got her books and they're not expensive. The first book was free. And then the other books in the series, I think there are 7 or 8. And I think I've only read, I read the first 4 in the series because they're dealing with the main characters. And I think the other 3 are dealing with the brothers of the one of the main characters in the story. But you should really go out there and just check her out and read the first book. Like I said, again, it's free. And if you like it, then you'll move on to the other books that she has out there, but they're really good. You know, nevertheless, I am still imaginative, but I'd rather write about everlasting love from a more humanly frame of mind. I love fantasy and other genres of writing, but hands down, I am a romance junkie. You know, I can't change who I am as a writer, no more than I can change the color of my skin. I am what I write, no doubt about it. I'm proud of who I am, and I take complete ownership of it. I came to terms with this a long time ago, and I refuse to go back to hiding behind religion or anything else, because I am what I write. I write romance. I love writing romance. And there are sci-fi authors that love writing about sci-fi. You just have to do what's in you, what compels you to write your best story. You know, you can't be hindered by what other people think because, you know, if you do, then really you subject yourself to limitations. And then you're not living the best life possible that you can. You're living your life through someone else's views and opinions. And that is not what God intended. He intended us to be the people that He created us to be. No matter who you are, if you are a writer, if you are a singer, if you are a dancer, no matter what you are, no matter what art that you are so skilled in, you have to be who you are, who you were designed to be. I love writing, and I can't imagine my life without being able to sit down and to tell a story, whether if I'm writing it out on paper or if I'm just telling you it from my mind. It's something that I have to do. It's something that I am compelled to do. And that lets me know that God put this inside of me. He placed it inside of me. Not to be embarrassed about, not to boast or brag about, but to simply do what He's placed in me to do. To take this gift and to run with it. And I choose to do positive things with my writing. Although I am a romance writer, I still try to infuse the story, with history and, just imaginative things. Writing consists of more than just writing great love scenes. It consists of more than just telling about, romantic situations. Romance encompasses a lot. And, I generally, when I write, I tell a story within a story. I try to give you a message. I try to have a moral in the story. I want to give you more than just words on paper. I want to give you something that is lasting, something that is useful, something that just takes over your emotions, and make you just be human, because that's what we are. We can't be anything else than what God has created us to be. We are human. We're human beings. We're not animals. We're not plants. We're not insects. We're humans, which means that, we have a myriad of emotions and things that make us who we are. And writing is one of the things that makes me who I am. If I couldn't do it, I would see it I would view it as a handicap, because that's a part of me that's there, but I can't use it anymore. It's like having an arm that has been somehow damaged, or a leg or an eye or whatever. Is there, but you can't use it. It's just useless to you. And that's what happens when we fail to listen to our own mind's eye, more so listening to someone else's, to dictate to us who we are as people, to make us feel bad about what we write simply because they don't agree with it. As I've said many times before, I am a writer, therefore I write. And I can't help it that, romance just happens to be the genre that I love. It is, and, I can't deny it. So, I write about what I know about. I read sci-fi and I read fantasy and things of that nature. But as far as me ever writing a story about those things, I can't do it because that's not where my interest lies. My interest, my strength, all of it is in romance. Simply because that's what I am at heart, So I write about what I know, and people seem to love it. So I have no complaints. But I hope that you have enjoyed today's show. Like I said, you can go out there on on Blogger, and you can read today's transcript if you like, because it will be uploaded there shortly. As well as this broadcast will be uploaded to Facebook and Twitter and YouTube and Instagram and Tumblr. And there are some more that I can't remember off the top of my head. But I would appreciate that if you do go to Spreaker. I would prefer you go to Spreaker. You can like me on Facebook. You can like me on Twitter. You can follow me on Facebook and also Twitter. But I would prefer if you went to Spreaker and actually left a comment, if you would, telling me how you liked the show, if you didn't like the show, what topics you would like for me to discuss in the future. I would just so greatly appreciate that, because like I said, it helps me to be able to listen to feedback, because that's important to me, to help you, to write about topics that interest you. I just don't want to, even though it's my show, I just don't want to talk about things that interest me, because, I don't do the show for myself. I do the show for the listeners, and I do appreciate you listening to the show. Like I said, I am just so thrilled, just over the moon, excited and happy about the fact that I only do this show for probably less than 30 minutes every Saturday. And yet, I have had so many listeners. I'm close to 500 now. So I can't tell you how much I appreciate those of you who are going out there actually listening to the show. I do appreciate it. And what I want to do is I'm going to have to upgrade my computer in the future, because I want to be able to interact with you while the show is going on. I can do it now, but it's not the same on my iPad as it would be if I actually did it from the computer. So I would have more control, more features if I'm able to do it to broadcast from my computer more so than my iPad. But I like the flexibility of being able to broadcast from my iPad, because it's so much more simpler. It's less steps than actually having to pull it up on the computer. But anyway, there are quite a few things to look forward to in 2017. So quite a few upgrades that I plan on doing. But, again, I just want to tell everybody that If Tomorrow Comes, my newest book, this is book 1, Requiem, and book 2, Genesis, will be out sometimes next year. But straight off the bat, it is selling really big. So I thank you so much for those of you who listen to the show, and hopefully you've gone out and bought the book. If you haven't, then you need to. It's not too late. It doesn't matter that Christmas is over with. Valentine's Day is coming up. And, you don't have to give candy all the time or flowers. Give a book, because sometimes, we as women, we love good romance. We love to be able to read a good book. And I'm telling you, If Tomorrow Comes it's a great book. It's a great story. You will love it. And, and not just read it for yourself. Give it as a gift and tell other people about it. That's the biggest gift that you can give to me, is to actually read it and then tell other people about it. And as you read the book, if you will, go out on Amazon and also give me feedback on that. If you would just leave your comments about the book, if you liked it. There's a few out there already. And, like I said, you can't please everyone. The last book I wrote, some people told me that they wished that it was longer. So, I did that this time around. I made sure that the book was longer. And so then I had some to tell me that, yes, they loved the story, but the story was too long. Well, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. You just have to take it as it comes. But all in all, I've gotten very good reviews about the book, and I do appreciate it. Believe you me, I do appreciate it. I have quite a few things coming up in 2017 that is related to the book, If Tomorrow Comes. I've been invited to speak at several different functions, and I am looking forward to that. I'm trying to prepare myself both mentally and physically for this, because I do better actually off camera than I do on camera, so to speak. So, I'm not a people person, although there are many people who would argue that point, to say that I am, because, it's my personality. I can pretty much get along with anyone. But sometimes you make yourself do things that just not come natural, for you. So, I'm trying to get better at that. And I do believe that I am getting better with being able to stand up in front of crowds and actually speak and talk without without going into some sort of conniptions or what have you. But again, I hope that everyone has had a beautiful holiday. We had an awesome Christmas, and I'm so thankful for it. I mean, I had family to come over that I didn't think would come over for Christmas, and it was just beautiful. It really was. Everything was just perfect. The weather, the food, the family, the gifts, all of it. I just would not change it for the world. And again, tonight is New Year's Eve. Well, actually, today is New Year's Eve. And like I said again, I know a lot of people will be out celebrating the New Year as it comes in. And I just want you to be safe. The roads here will be wet. It's going to be rainy. So, if you do have parties, and if you have the space, if it's not a huge party, then, if you would just make room for your party goers to, to spend the night, or if you're having functions at hotels or whatever, to me, that's the best idea, because no one has to actually get out and drive anywhere. They can just stay where they are. Or make sure that you bring a designated driver with you, someone who does not drink, that will be able to drive you home safely. I hope that you have enjoyed the show today. I hope that I've said something that has helped you in maybe a small or in a big way. Again, I look forward to doing the show more. I missed last Saturday from not being able to broadcast, but it was the holiday and I had so much on my plate. But I did send out a message to let everyone know that that the show would resume today, and it did. So hopefully, there may be more Saturdays where I can't actually broadcast, but I did miss it. Being able to spend time with you, the short time that I do the show, it means a lot to me, and I do appreciate you, and I thank you so very much. Well, I'm coming down here to the last few minutes of the show, and again, I just want to say thank you. I cannot thank you enough. Keep listening to the show. Please, if you don't mind, send me feedback on it, because like I said, it's useful for me. It helps inspire me to do more, to do this show. And I do appreciate you for listening. Well, I hope that everyone has a good rest of your weekend. I hope that you have a safe holiday celebration tonight. And I just want to wish you a happy new year, 2017. It's going to be a great year. I already know it. Well, I just want to say tomorrow is worship day as well. And if you don't have a church home, please go visit someone's church. Go with a family member. Go with a friend. And tell someone that you love them. Because tomorrow is not promised. And, and you never know when you'll get that chance to tell them again. And you don't want to regret not being able to having said it when you could have. So I just want to say God bless and goodbye.